Tulit Valentine to crack net. We have two papers, that is paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 you will have 50 questions, and out of that you have to answer at least 30 questions to be in a safer side, because each question will carry 2 marks. So 30 into 2 you will get 60 as the mark. So you will get 60 percentage and you will be in a safer side while you answer 30 questions in paper 1. And you need to have 100 questions, and totally in paper 1 and paper 2 altogether the mark is 200. So paper 2 you need to answer 60 questions out of 100 to be in a safer side. In paper 1 30 questions so that you can get the score of 60, and in paper 2 you need to answer 60 questions to be in a safer side. The next thing, before practicing what you are familiar with, you have to know the chapters. So in paper 1, you have the teaching aptitude, research aptitude, comprehension, communication, mathematical reasoning and aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, information and communication technology, people development and entertainment, higher education system. So altogether you have 10 units, and have to concentrate on the area which you are very strong with, because as I said you need to answer 30 questions and you will get 60 percentage while you are answering 30 questions, because each question will carry 2 marks. So out of the 10 units you have to concentrate on the 6 units which you are very familiar with and strong with, because some will be good in maths and some will be good in teaching and research aptitude. You can very good at maths if you practice it from the initial stage, because maths and data interpretation, all these chapters cannot be done within a 1 week. It takes time, especially while talking about maths it needs some practice. So apart from that you can concentrate on the areas like teaching aptitude, research aptitude and comprehension communication questions. All these will help you to score better. And I will not say that you can left all the other 4 units which you are not comfortable with. You have to know something about that. That is, the minimum learning is needed. And apart from that, the previous year question papers are very important, because you have to learn the concepts, guys. The questions will not be repeated in the upcoming exams, but the concepts remains the same. 2 to 3 questions from per unit will be common the repeated concepts. So as I said you before, from each units you will get 5 questions, and out of the 5 questions 2 to 3 questions from per unit will be asked from the repeated concepts. So you have to understand the concepts first instead of memorizing, because the questions will not be repeated in the upcoming exams, but the concepts will remain the same. So you have to understand that first. So if you understand the concepts, you can get 30 questions in a very right manner. So these are some of the strategies you can do to get score in paper 1. So apart from this, paper 2. Paper 2, this paper is going to concentrate on the students who are going to appear in the English exams, that is for English literature. In English literature, you have 10 chapters like drama, poetry, fiction, short story, and non-fictional prose, language. In language, you will have the basic concepts, theories, and pedagogy, English in use, English in India, its history, evolution, and futures, cultural studies, literary criticism, literary theory, post World War II, and research methods and materials in English. So these are the syllabus in paper 2 which you have to be familiar with, because without understanding the syllabus you can't practice the questions. So next, if you take in English literature, 70% of questions will be asked in the British literature and 20% from the theory, and the remaining 10% from the miscellaneous questions. So you have to concentrate much on the British literature up to the current scenario. So that is very important. So apart from that, you can get much score in the theory paper and also in the miscellaneous type of questions, which I am going to discuss in the upcoming. And I need to suggest some of the books which you can read to score better. For example, for doing your history of English literature, I can suggest the books like William J. Long and Edward Albert, Routledge, Ronald Carter, David Deutsch's Volume 1, 2 and 3 and 4. These books will help you to score better in the NET exams while you are preparing for the English literature, especially for the history of English literature. If you want to know the history of English literature very well, you can take these books, any one of them, or you can prefer all these four which you are comfortable with. So based on your wish, you can select these books and you can prepare for that. For the criticism, as I said you, the literary theory from criticism, you can get 20% of questions. For the literary criticism, you can have books like M.A. or Habib, and for literary criticism, the books from Plato to present, you will have all the concepts explained in a very clear manner in M.A. or Habib's books, that is which speaks about literary criticism. The next, the students who are preparing for the English literature, you have to know the writers and the authors who got the Pulitzer Prize winners and the Sahitya Academy Award, Napith Award and the Nobel Prize up to this date. So these questions are very common and asked in the exams in all types. So you have to know which writer for what book they got the Pulitzer Prize and the Sahitya Academy Award for the Nobel Prize. So like that you have to be familiar with. So these are very important, guys. The strategies. Many of you will do the biggest mistake. You will know the major writers and their major works and the minor writers. But that is wrong. You can know their major works, that is not a big deal. But you have to understand the major writers who had written the works which are very minor, which looks minor. You have to understand that and you have to be familiar with that. And the minor writers. For the minor writers, you have to concentrate on their major works. So that is the strategies, guys, because this is some type of exam which is seen as a competitive and very difficult, but actually this is not that much difficult, because usually in these type of exams the familiar type of questions will never be asked. For example, if you take Chaucer is known for his Canterbury Tales. It is very common, but apart from that you have to concentrate on Chaucer and his minor works which you are not familiar with. So that type of questions will be asked in net. And if you take the minor writers, you have to concentrate on their major works. So that is the strategy to keep you score well in the exams. So concentrate on that. The detailed study. You can source websites and search websites from different pages like Wikipedia and Britannica. There are many other sources you can search based on your wish, but I will say that you can choose websites like Wikipedia and Britannica because where you will have the hyperlinks. If you want to have the detailed study, you can just take the Wikipedia and Britannica.coms and you can see many hyperlinks there, and the hyperlinks, when you click on that hyperlinks, it will lead you to deeper and deeper, where you can get immense informations. For example, if you take Shakespeare, you can browse Shakespeare in Britannica, either in Britannica or in Wikipedia, and you will have the hyperlink that will take you to the another page where you can find out some other articles which you are not familiar with. So these type of self study will make you to learn better. The next thing is the MA syllabus compilation, guys, because the NET exam is the central exam. So obviously the teacher will be from the persons who are taking the question papers from the central universities. So if you take the syllabus of the Delhi University, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Jamia Millia Islamia University, English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad Central University, they will have the syllabus for their students. You can follow those syllabus. It will make you to learn more things. You can get to know some of the authors which you are unfamiliar with, the portions, everything will be seem different. So It will give you a complete knowledge, full packed knowledge while you are attending examinations. I will not say you to mug up everything or to memorize everything. Instead, just read it as you are reading a newspaper or watching a movie. That will make you to understand better and will provoke you some kind of eagerness towards the subject. So make use of that. The next thing is, in order to score much better and to keep you on the safer side, you have to understand the pen name of the authors. For example, each author will have some other names and you have to understand the pen name of the author. For example, Charlotte Bronte, she has some other pen name like that, and Charles Lamb, he has some other pen name. So Charles Lamb and Charlotte Bronte, these are the common familiar names which you are known with, but they have some other pen names, the pseudonym names. You have to understand that because they will not ask you directly that these are the authors or names with like that and this. These sort of questions will never be asked in the exams. Maybe the pen name will be asked and the poetic and literary devices. You have to understand the literary terms and subtitle or other title of work. For example, each work will have some other different name. For example, if you take the Robinson Crusoe has the subtitle which some of you are not familiar with. So these sort of questions you have to understand better. And the schools and theaters, magazine, journals, awards, trilogy, isms, in the sense you will have feminism like that. So all these sorts of questions which you have to make familiar with, that is very important, guys. For example, isms, in the sense you will have naturalism, realism, imagism, dadaism. So you have to understand what these things are. What is naturalism, what is realism, who coined this, and the schools and theaters, when it was open, and the familiar magazines and the unfamiliar magazines and journals, when it was open, who coined this, who is the writer who is playing a predominant role, and what are their important works, their minor works. So these are some of the small things you have to concentrate on. Instead of concentrating much on the familiar things, you have to concentrate on the unfamiliar things, guys. That is very important to score in the competitive exams. So you have to understand the basic concepts like this. So apart, as I said you before, literary theory and cultural studies, you will have 20% of questions. You can get to know it based on the surface level, and you have to concentrate on the British literature must. So the 70% of questions will be asked from the English literature, and apart from that, the literary theory and cultural studies, you can just know it from the surface level, or you can even know in the depth level based on your wish. But the British literature is very important based on nowadays. Next thing is, in cultural studies, the subgenres in cultural studies, and the history and evolution of cultural studies, and in literary theories, the theory and theorist, their concepts, terms, works, all are very important. While you take the cultural studies, you have to know the history and its evolution, and in literary theories, you can know the theory and the theorists who are famous for that, their concepts, their terms, their works. If you watch my channel, in the first page itself, I had mentioned some of the five theorists and their theory. You can get to know much better if you watch my videos and the upcoming videos too. And the next thing, the books which I will prefer is the literary theory. If you want to know the beginning theories, like the initial stage of the theory, you can get the book of Peter Barry, where you can understand the concepts in a much easier way. The next one is Pramod K. Nair, Contemporary Literary and Cultural Theory. If you want to know the contemporary and literary theory and cultural theory, you can suggest that book. And M.A.R. Habib, Modern Literary Criticism and Theory. If you want to know the modern literary theory and criticism in a much better way, you can get the book of M.A.R. Habib. And first of all, if you want to understand something very big, you have to understand the basic level, guys. So for that, first of all, you need to buy the book of Peter Barry. So his beginning theory is very important. So where you can get all the basic concepts in a very easy language, it will make you understand better, and automatically it will lead you to know much better while you are reading other books. The next, came to the end of the session. Thank you for watching. And thank you for supporting me, and I need all your support in my upcoming videos too. With this, take care and bye bye.